I ended up getting married when I was 25. I thought I had it all figured out. Eventually, I encountered a lot of challenges in that. I started my own company, and after the divorce, it's not easy to sort of maneuver managing a company because of all the associations and the things that you built up in that marriage. So once you separate with somebody, it's sort of like an axe to a tree.
When did you get to know that I can sing, I've got the voice, or I'm aspiring to be a singer?
I stumbled into it because of what happened when I was young. Growing up, I was close to one of my brothers. His name was Curtis. Curtis was murdered when I was like 8, and
everyone, welcome Craig. They call him CNote. Right? How's it, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Why are you never telling him how you fought with me when you wanted to buy that keyboard? Why are you not telling them?
Ish, bro. Yeah, I remember the time, man.
Yo, you stressed me out. You were the one stressing me out. I remember I can't even remember if it was a supply problem, but you were stressing me out. I was like, yo, I have to make sure I get this thing.
Yeah.
And then you came through, you were happy, and you got it.
Yeah, man. I wanted the keyboard so bad. There it is. There.
I can see it.
I'm practicing. I'm putting in the work.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you very much, man.
No stress.
I really appreciate you for coming through.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this moment, and I was just always telling myself that I don't care how long it's gonna take. I understand this guy is busy, but I need to finally get him on this podcast. He needs to come through. So
for sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Just to kickstart, before we jump into your music journey and everything, take me through your background.
I come from a place called Wentworth. It's in Durban. I've always been here. Nothing really major to it. I've never moved out. I've only been in one place. Wentworth has been known for its notoriousness. Yeah. But there's a lot of good memories and great moments that you can learn from a place called Wentworth. And a lot of people can look down on Wentworth because not many good things come out of Wentworth. Just like how they spoke of Jesus. Yeah. When Jesus was starting to gather his disciples, and they said, I think it was Nathaniel. He said, "What good can come out of Nazareth?" I suppose that it's very ironic that and similar in a sense of where I come from, which is Wentworth. So a lot of people will say, like, what good can come out of Wentworth? Yeah. And there's a lot of people that actually have come out of Wentworth that are truly inspirational, motivational, have achieved a lot in the past 20 years, 30 years. Yeah. So I come from a place called Wentworth.
Okay. When did you start to indulge into music, being a singer?
I stumbled into it because of what happened when I was young. So I growing up, I was close to one of my brothers. His name was Curtis. So I've got an older brother. His name's Otis. And I had a younger brother named Curtis. So growing up, I was very close with Curtis because he was at home. Now Otis wasn't really there. He was always working out and etc. So Curtis was murdered when I was like 8. And I remember prior to that, he gave me a CD by Usher. It was a DVD concert of 8701. He left it with me. And I didn't really I wasn't into music and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't really interested. When you're 8, you worried about playing marbles, you worried about climbing trees, playing sandbobs and fighting with people, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I started listening to that concert out of sentimental value. But I'm also a child, so I don't understand these things. But at the same breath, we still have these emotions that are real, which is sentimental. I started watching this concert. And while I was in primary school, every single day I used to come back from school and I used to watch this concert, not knowing what I'm really experiencing, but I ended up starting to try and emulate this man that I used to watch every single day. Used to watch him, the way he performs and sing. And I ended up starting to sing, and eventually months go by, I ended up sounding like this, man. Yeah, and then there was like, I remember sometimes, you have these free periods in school. Now I was in primary school. The school was called Esigai Primary, and sometimes we'll have these free periods, and I would just go at it and start singing, and then there was these kids are like, "Hi, you sounded like you sound like a pop star, whatever." Yeah. And one teacher even says, "Hi, Bo, you can sing like this." And I can't even remember that teacher's name, but she was a problem actually. That teacher, she used to give us a hiding. She used to give us a hiding with the pipes, the conduit pipes. And I remember it stuck with me that she said, you got a great voice, and that's when I started to realize like, I can sing. But music was something that wasn't encouraged from my household. Provided that my parents are a bit old school. They didn't believe in it. They always believed that you need to study, get a career out of something that you want to study, like a profession. My father was also a musician back in his day. He got saved at a certain age, and then he changed over and started doing praise and worship in churches, that sort of stuff. But he was in the entertainment industry, like in the music industry, with regards to performing in certain places with a band back in those days. So I'm talking in 1970s, around about there.
Okay.
So I can imagine the fear that must have come with seeing me like sort of almost realigning my path with his path.
Yeah.
Obviously, his path might have been a bit more difficult because of the challenges that our old folks experienced back in those years. With apartheid and any of those challenges that they experienced in the music industry, because everything was gatekept. There was no open season in terms of opportunities in that industry. So I think he must have had that same mentality, seeing me doing something that sort of looked like probably his past, how he looked like when he was younger. So I think that was one of the things that I saw, that there was a voice, but I didn't really pursue it or think that I could pursue it, because of, I should say, they influenced me not to go that route, you see. So, but I remember I was like probably like 12 or so, where I started saying, okay, I got a nice voice.
Nice. And you do, man. I do listen to your music.
Thanks, man.
Recent song. We're gonna talk more about it. And so I read your story on. I'm not sure if you're still signed to that record label, Child of the.
Yeah. That's my own, man.
Yeah, I read your story that you were studying. You studied, I'm not sure if it's civil engineering.
Yes.
And then you left that to pursue music.
Yes.
I just want you to take me through the story and that journey. How did you come to a place where you made that executive decision to say, I'm leaving this whole thing, I'm going to pursue music?
It's funny the way you're asking it, because it actually didn't actually go in an executive decision way.
Okay.
you make decisions based off the bruises that you incur when you bump your head quite. Now you sort of start to go on a path that seems easier. So for me, I was civil engineering. I studied it. I was in a great company, doing practicing civil engineering, but I ended up getting married when I was 25. I thought I had it all figured out. Eventually, I encountered a lot of challenges in that. I started my own company, and after the divorce, it's not easy to sort of maneuver managing a company because of all the associations and the things that you built up in that marriage. So once you separate with somebody, it's sort of like an axe to a tree. Even with regards to business. And then when coming home after that divorce, I started again, tried it with my father's company, and it didn't work out for some reason. It was a very, very difficult thing for me, especially because I'm coming from a very professional company with also managing sites and stuff. And now doing it on my own in my father's company, it was very challenging somehow. And eventually I started trying to do something that was therapeutic to me, and that was singing. And I started doing some TikTok videos, singing some songs. And I remember there was one song I didn't even know went viral. And I started going to like the shopping mall. I think it was Pavilion. And a lot of people were asking me to take pictures. And I'm like, just going with it. But I'm like so confused. Yeah. And then the second time I go to another mall, it was Galleria. And there's people was like coming to me like, hey, it's you, like you can see, like, and then they asked me to take a picture as well. And I was like, wait now, what is really going on? And then like, how you're the guy that sings, And I went back and I saw the video. The video was on 1 million views, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then like as I'm reading through comments and people are saying, you should try music, you would do great as an artist, and you should write your own songs. So I was started to feel a little bit of a realignment in my spirit, where it was like I didn't really know, but there was something deep inside me that was triggered, that felt like this is actually a real thing for me that I can pursue. But I didn't really like know it completely. So I just started trying out like my first song, like a single. I went to a local producer in Sydenham. His name is Dave Ordinary. Shout out to you, Dave Ordinary, wherever you are, if you're watching this. And yeah, we made a first single, and it did okay for the first single that came out independently.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been my journey, with regards to music. Yeah.
And looking back so far where you are with music, do you ever feel like you could have done things differently, or you could have followed or just kept on going on with the engineering industry, or went to do something different? Do you ever have that feeling of saying,
so let me tell you the story, right? Let's make this interesting. So I started doing more singles, thinking that, but the thing is, when you're doing this on your own, you also like doing it for hype, and you're also doing it for like self-appraisal, that sort of stuff. You started to like the attention as well. So you're not really looking at the commercial aspects of it. So I started, and after like maybe the third single, there started being a bit of attention that was coming upon me now, because the song, I think We Up, started to hit hard. And I didn't know that I needed a mentor in this space, because I'm coming from a space where everything is on a straight line, and what you see is what you get. In the civil engineering background, I'm coming from a technical background, but now the music industry is very different, because now this is all connections, in terms of connecting with fan bases, making fan bases, also generating income with that sort of stuff. I don't know nothing about that. I just know this is what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. And there's a nephew of mine who was nagging me to meet Ernie Smith. And I was like, I don't want to meet Ernie Smith. I don't need to meet Ernie Smith. What am I going to do that for? I knew Ernie Smith. I knew his song, Lonely. But I didn't know like the others and all that sort of stuff. So eventually he wore me out to meet with him, and I did. I headed into him. So I ended up going to the studio in Asymptote. I phoned him and said, I'm coming. Can I come through? Made the arrangements. When I went to the studio, this thing blew my mind. I went in the studio and I saw hardware equipment all over the shop. Never seen it. Looked like Nashville. And I was like, yo, okay, this is something new. Normally the studios that I go to have a little mic, a little sound card like this, focal, another, what's to say?
Focusrite,
Focusrite, headphones, little studio monitors using a Fruity Loops. That's it. Now I'm coming to a studio that's using a Mac, that MacBook Studio, different types of hardware gear. And I'm like, I don't know what they do, but I can see it's expensive equipment. And then he makes, after talking after a while, he makes me hear one of his songs. And when I heard the song, I was like, whoa, I need you, my guy. I want you. Because I felt something when he played me his songs. I felt like, whoa, I feel something now.
When was this?
This was in this was 3.5 years ago. Yeah, 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I decided in my mind right there and then that I need to be with this guy. This guy needs to be my mentor. This guy, I need to be signed with him. And prior to this, I had friends that were also doing music,
Yeah.
sort of like rapping and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they met with him. I don't know what happened with their deal, but I saw like pictures of them and that sort of stuff. So I'm thinking like they were gonna sign and all that. And eventually it didn't go through somehow. And long story short, I met with Ernie again at Galleria with his business partner. We spoke a bit, and I made it clear to him that I would like to be part of the record label. And he was speaking a lot about like the deal, the 360 deal, like the splits and etc. I was like, listen, and I'm not so interested in that. I know that I need you, because it was also like there was sort of a connection that I knew in my spirit that Ernie is a man of integrity, he's a man of God, because we were also having that sort of dialogue. Now bearing in mind at that point I wasn't in a space of being so spiritually strong. So after the divorce, that messed me up quite bad, and I was in a backslidden type of state that I was in at that time. So after I signed with Ernie, I waited a whole 3 years.
Okay,
3 years. 3 years of non-releasing music. Now, bear in mind, prior to that, I'm independent. I can decide when I release music. I can go record a song. I get the song mixed and mastered in 2 weeks, and I can decide, okay, I want to release the song next week or something. Now I'm waiting 3 years. I'm seeing people come in and out recording songs. They're releasing their songs, but in these 3 years, I'm also developing. I'm writing songs. I'm learning how to produce my own music. I got myself a MacBook, so I'm learning how to produce my own music now in the studio that he allocated to me. And now in these 3 years of silence, I'm like, I could have just went back to this thing, civil engineering, and carry on with my career, earn lots of money, that sort of stuff, and build my life up again. I'm in this place coming day in, day out, waiting and waiting and waiting. So there was like moments where I questioned, like, should I go back? Because let's face the truth. Sometimes you can have a vision. I can imagine Joseph. Joseph just saw the dream. God didn't show him the journey to the dream. You understand? So that was my thing. I saw the vision of being an artist, a renowned artist, not just someone that's locally known, but something that's been pivoted into a global market. I always had that dream and something that resonated inside of me. I had the vision, but I didn't know that I would be in such a waiting period, and it crushed me, because I see other artists. It's like you're watching, it's like I can't wait, and sometimes you get discouraged because the waiting can be so depressing, because you see others doing well. Some others are getting opportunities, some others are releasing music. And here you are, you're just in the state of writing music, not knowing that I was in a crushing period, and not knowing I was also developing in the same breath. I like the story of someone, I can't remember who said it, but it says there was this lady that watched, I don't know if they called him silversmith, and he was making a sword. And she watched him, and she asked him, like, how do you make this thing? And he said, sit down and watch. And he puts the sword in the fire, and he keeps putting the fire, taking it out. He cleans off the dust, the whatever the residual materials that need to be cut off. And then she asked him, like, how do you know when it's right? And he laughed and he said, you know it's right when you can see your reflection. And that's the same thing with I believe with God. He prunes you through these processes, getting rid of all the residuals that you incur through life's challenges, through heartbreak, through losses, until you get to a point where you start looking like Him. And that's one of the realest and that's one of the things that God wants for every single person, is to conform to the image of Christ, to become like Christ, to look like Him, to show the world that we have a King, and this is what He looks like. Understand? So I went through that period of waiting. It felt like a pruning process. It felt like fire. It felt like I was placed in that fire, and coming out back in again, because as a youngster, you like to look and see your life is progressing, but you don't see that everything is progressing internally first before that you need to go out there and progress. Understand?
True,
So yeah, that's how it went.
That speaks to me a lot. I recently made an episode. I was talking about how it's so hard to build something from nothing. There are people who, when they try to be in the media space or whatever they're trying to do, they get it a bit not easier, but they get the chance to make connections with people who put them on. But there is somebody like me who's gonna start to do something different. I started my podcast and it was named Beyond the Vision for a certain reason. It's not just a podcast that is for entertainment, but it's for educational purposes, for inspiring other people, to make people believe that anything that you ever want, it's possible. But what you're mentioning right now is what I go through, and I'm still going through right now. Feeling like I'm in such a different path of this industry. Many of the podcasts or many of the shows that are serving a certain purpose like this, some of them, they don't make it, and people kind of give up because they want to be in the limelight. But then what you're mentioning right now just comes back and say, even though I may not see the progress outside, even though I may not see the audiences coming in bulks and all that, there is those tiny micro progressions that are happening internally. You're making progress with each and every episode that I make. I can feel when I reflect on myself that I'm making a progress. The way how I interviewed someone last year is not the same I interviewed this year. The way how I edit my videos is not the same as how I used to edit last year. So I feel like it's that situation where I love the fact that you are an R&B singer, but you are a believer. Something that is not very common in this world. So I think it takes time to build something that is rooted in truth and genuinity. It's a bit easier when you are bending your side. It's a bit easier when you are that person whom you can meet somebody and they offer you a deal and say, I'm going to give you a this and that. You have to give me this and that in return. And then you take it, then boom, Craig is famous, Craig is recording in US or whatever. But when you're building something that is going to be worthwhile, something that's going to live forever, something that you're not going to lose your soul, you're not going to lose yourself, you're still going to be happy when you are at the top. It takes time. I think that's how I think about it, and that's what keeps me going every day, that it takes time. And I think it's the same thing with your journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is just one of the things that we tend to forget, is that God he says you are his workmanship. You understand? So at first, when I signed, my mentality and my ambition was to be famous and to be known, to be well known, locally, whether it's locally or world known, and to get lots of money, that sort of stuff. And then eventually I started, I encountered God for somewhere along those 3 years. And it was a real encounter. And I started reading the word, started to understand who God really is, that is a loving Father. He's not just a God that can be at a distance, but he's closer than you can ever imagine. And throughout those years of day in, day out, conforming to the word of God, to renew my mind, I started to understand that there's a scripture that it says that delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And a lot of people like to see that from an angle of God giving you the things that you desire. But I like to see it from a different perspective, where when you're delighting in somebody, like, for example, there's a lot of people that who are married right now or are engaging in a relationship with somebody. The more that you are delighting yourself in that person, the more you start becoming like that person, you start talking like the person, you start behaving like the person, because you start accommodating everything about them, you're loving every aspect about them. So I see it in the same way, where it says delight yourself in the Lord. Now, delighting yourself in the Lord is also about meditating on his word. And the more you do that, he starts aligning your desires to his desires. Your desires start changing. So now it becomes easier because now your desires are aligned to his desires, and therefore now he can start working with that and giving you those desires.
True.
So a lot of people like to say delighting in the Lord, and then leave out the most important part, and then he will give you the desires. He'll give you the desires to desire, if I should say it like that. So that was my thing. My desires started to change, where it's no more about fame. It's no more about making lots of money. Although we in business, in the music business, to make money.
Yeah.
But it's no longer about that. But it's also to connect with people in different ways, to say certain things that people can't say in different ways, and to reach people where they're at in their hearts, but to also draw out the God that people put in, because to speak to a person is very different for me to sing to the person a certain thing. So I can say something, but it can hit home differently through a song, where it speaks to them as if they sing a mirror, So that's been my desire now, is to make music that connects to people, to bring their guard down. And then after, when their hearts are settled, then I can speak to them about something, about the one who changes, the one who died for them, the one who's always there, is the everlasting Father, the one who will never leave them, never forsake them, but and is always there to reach out his hand. He's standing at the door and he's knocking on the people's hearts. And I feel the Lord has called me to open the door to their hearts, so that the Lord can come in and sup with them. You understand?
Very, very wonderful, man.
Yeah.
Very wonderful. Now let's talk about your new released single.
Yeah.
How Do You?
Yeah.
I just want us to take a moment to talk about how you came to think about that song. One trend I've noticed about you sing many of your songs that speaks to a heart that is broken.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
So I just want us to talk
yes.
a bit. What was the background of this new song?
Yes.
I just want us to talk around it.
I won't lie.
Yeah.
I was in a recent relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful
So
now.
no,
I have to be very careful, because all of a sudden after this podcast I can get messages coming to me saying, how can you say that?
How do
you say that? I would say that there was a relationship that I went through that I believed in a lot, and it didn't fall through. And I experienced the casualty of a sudden change of heart that surprised me, caught me off guard. Because whenever I engaged in relationships prior, I always had a reservation for a heartbreak, or for someone to let me down, to disappoint me, that sort of stuff. And then with this person, I actually believed in it, because it felt real. The feelings were real. I really wanted to go all out, and I did. And when something happened, tables just turned just like that. And I was like, yo, how could you do that? How could you do that to me? Especially at a time where, I decided that I was going to go all out on this. And you, of all people, should have known better not to do that to me. And it broke me. It broke me. I remember crying while I was making a bubble. I think all the fellas can relate to that.
Yeah. Well, we do cry, but in private.
No. I remember. I can say that was the one person that I was like crying over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was hard so. It was hard so. And I was sitting by the piano, and I was playing some chords there. And I remember Ernie was also there. We were just jamming, and he was playing his guitar, and he was just picking around, and there was a melody. It came and went, and I remembered it, but it stayed with me. It was that chorus. So I started playing with it afterwards in my own space, and I started formulating the words, and then it came so easy for the chorus. Like, how could you tell me that you're my only, and then walk right out my life. That was the main line that came to me, because it was a real thing that I experienced. And then I ended up putting it to a melody, and it took me a while to write the rest of the song. I knew I needed another part of that chorus, and hey, I'm gonna reveal too many things, ne? There was this there was this girl that wanted me, and she loved flowers, but I wasn't into her because of this person. And when this person broke me like that, I remembered her afterwards, and then I was like, shoo, how could you tell me that you're my only and walk right out my life? I could have been buying somebody else flowers. I could have been spending my hours buying somebody else flowers, but you left me here to say, how do you say that you love me and then leave? So when I had that, it was a pivotal moment when I got that chorus down, and then I started writing the rest of the lyrics that evening. It all came in one night. But the song, I had to wrestle with it for about 2 months to get the right feeling. But I knew the feeling that I wanted to get out of it, because when I went through that heartbreak and that breakup with this person, I remember going into my room and looking for like heartbreak songs, because sometimes it's like you want to feel this thing properly and thoroughly, so you'll put on some heartbreak songs when you're going through a heartbreak, and none of the songs in a modern sense could fill that gap. None of it was hitting the way I was hoping for it, and I knew that there was a feeling that I wanted to have with the song that I was working on. I wanted to speak about a sudden change of confusion, of giving your all to somebody, and then all of a sudden that person can just leave you and just forget about you completely overnight. Where we're coming from a culture prior where it takes time to mend things. You want to mend things, and then now all of a sudden things can just change in a moment, where you don't know whether you were in or out, coming in or coming out. So it was a difficult one. It was really a difficult one.
A quick question: are all your songs always based on the real story?
All of it. Oh yeah, sorry. I was saying that I wanted that feeling of displaying confusion and the bitterness of not having closure, but also to dance with it. It's like I wanted a feeling where I can smile through something, but I have so many questions inside. I wanted the song to speak to that part. I didn't want it to be just a heartbreak song, like you did this or you did this. No, I wanted it to be like, I'm smiling, I'm cool, but how could you break me like that inside? I wanted it to feel like that. And that's where, through time, there was a moment where it clicked and I was like, oh, there, I got it.
I think it did, because I saw you posted your recent show. People are dancing, but they're busy singing. How do you?
Yeah.
They're dancing.
Yeah.
I think it
yes,
I
wanted a heartbreak song you can dance to. Because let's be honest, we as human beings in this era, we don't like to express our heartbreak so publicly, but we like to put the smile out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make that a reality in a song, where you express a smile which can be genuine, depending on how you're going through a breakup, or how you're going through a loss, whether it can be a fake smile or whether it can be a genuine smile, but it must feel like a smile. But internally we all going through that rejection, that loss, that heartbreak, that needing for closure. Understand? So that's basically how do you came about.
You mentioned that you married at 25.
Yeah.
And then things happened and you got divorced. Then you fell in love with this person. Now, I want to understand, from your young age, were you always that guy who is like, when you are in a relationship, I'm all in.
No, no, no. As I was saying, like always, like previously, like previous relationships, I always had a reservation. Yeah, I didn't like. I think because I lost a lot of people, like my brother. I also
Yeah.
lost my mom when I was 18. So I didn't like the feeling of losing anybody. So I would rather have a reservation than to be caught off guard and have this deep heartbreak. You understand? So I always had like a reserve tank just in case they would switch up on me. I would have like a small wall built up internally, you know. So, but it's not good. It's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
It's not good for anybody. But I suppose I didn't know at that time until I met somebody that I thought could be the one for me, and it switched up. She switched up on me, man.
It's life.
Yeah, it's such as life,
Such is
man.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
What should we expect from you as an artist? You've got a song. He's got a song that is out. How do you? You can check it on all media platforms.
All
right?
streaming
All
platforms. Yeah.
streaming. Oh yeah. So, what's your next goal for the next maybe a year or two? What should we expect from you?
I've
as
been
an
working.
artist?
I've been working on my album. It's preliminary. I would say completed in a sense of having the concept of it. So right now I will be releasing some singles. I think the next single will be like in a month,
Okay.
month and a half time,
Nice,
depending.
nice, yeah.
What you can expect is real situations that speak to the heart, of twists and turns in love, and how we express love in this day and age, with regards to vulnerability, and how we take risks, and like how do you experiencing a sudden change of a person's interest in you, and how you're dealing with such things, and how it can give you like a sort of a storyline as to how your perception can change of how you engage in relationships because of how you were broken before, how things change for you. That sort of stuff you can expect. You can expect poetry type of love songs. You can expect hopeful love songs. You can expect real life experiences, and you can expect some very vibey ones where you're on top of the moon.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. So those are the things you can expect in this album coming up. I'm not gonna say when it's coming. Because
Okay.
don't ask me that.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask that. All right. I think there you have it, guys. Expect more from him. CNote91.
Yeah.
On your media
Yeah,
platforms.
yeah.
Go stream his songs, and yeah. I just wanna say that thank you very much, man, for coming through.
No problem.
I really appreciate the conversation that we had
Yeah.
right now. And one notable thing that I should mention is that in this day and age, it's a bit uneasy to find someone who is an artist, not even in music generally.
Yes.
Someone who is rooted in faith in God, and someone who's always having the zeal to say everything that I'm doing has to be giving back the praise
Absolutely.
to God, and I have to be serving a purpose in the person who is
Absolutely.
listening. I really appreciate that about you, and I think even when people listen to your songs, they do get. I think it's different when you're doing something not for self-glorification, but you're doing it because you want to spread positivity, and you want to serve a certain purpose in other people's lives. I listen to a lot of Sade. I'm sure you know Sade.
Yeah.
A very laid low artist from when she was young. She's old now. I think she's 67. But her music is that music that when you listen to it, it speaks to you. But again, she was not all out there. She was a very well reserved woman. She's still a very well reserved woman. She's not like if we are to look at what's happening now with the artist in this day and age, and how she is, you can see a big difference there. So I think when you're doing something for a certain purpose, it hits different even to us who are listening. So that's one thing I would say I love about you and your music. So thank you very much, man, for coming.
I appreciate the call, man. It's a blessing and a pleasure to come here and to share a bit of my story. Look, my story is still it's been written, but I'm still probably in the very, very early stages of it. I look forward to what's gonna happen, what God is in store for the future. I think the main thing that people need to understand is, not in a condemning way, but his purchase of each and every individual was a very expensive, as this gentleman says, his mic is very expensive. So Christ paid a payment that we can never pay, but it is a free gift, and it's available to every single one of it. But once you accept the gift, you become His. And what's beautiful is that this relationship that you have with the Lord is that he co-works with you in a purpose that is ordained from you from the start. And it's a beautiful thing to have a relationship with Him, because He will always guide you into that path.
True.
So that you can find what is your purpose in life.
True.
And I know the most difficult thing for any young person to do is to come to the realization of what their plan and their purpose is. And the only way, I believe, is to find their purpose is by having a relationship with the one true God, who is Jesus Christ.
That's true. Yeah.
The Bible says in Romans 8, it says, if God is for us, who can be against us? But then it says, He that did not withhold His only begotten Son, but gave Him up freely for us, how much more along with Him shall He graciously give us all things? And that is a scripture that I live by, because I know that He gave His best, who is Jesus. So how much more will He give all things?
Yeah.
So to know that you are loved in that way is to have such a big assurance that no matter what, you are living in a purpose that He will make sure He will drive you to completion. Understand? So that's something that I would like to encourage each and every one of you listening to this podcast, is to find the source. The only thing that you can do is to find the source and be with the source. Connect yourself to the vine, and He will prune you, yes, but I can tell you it'll be a beautiful journey in having this relationship with Him. You will find yourself doing things that are so interesting. You'll start to realize that these things that you love doing the most is actually where He's placed you to be, in such a sweet spot, doing something that you love.
Yeah.
I'm loving the space I'm in now, doing something that I love. Sometimes the vision sort of gets clearer and clearer every single day. You have like this little like an open puzzle where little pieces have been placed, but every day one puzzle's been placed, and you start to see the vision clearer and clearer of what He has in store for you. So connect yourself to the vine. Connect yourself to the vine.
That's the way.
Yeah, that's the way.
Right. Well, thank you very much, man, for coming through.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Right. Cool.